So this is a little tutorial about color correction. Some of you may have footage that needs to be a little bit brighter or darker, or the color needs to be fixed a little bit. This is very, very basic. There's a lot more to this, and if we have time in class, we'll try to go over a little bit more. But I'm not feeling that well, so if I cough or sneeze or whatever, I apologize, but I'm going to keep going because I just kind of need to get this finished so that I can get it out to you. So in my composition that I have today, I have some footage, a bridge shot, a lake shot, and a singer, and I have those placed in my timeline. And so we're going to kind of look at these and make some color corrections. So I'm currently in the editing workspace, but I'm going to switch to color. So I'm going to go up to Window, Workspaces, and then I'm going to come over to Color. Now when I do that, it just shifts the windows around a little bit. This is still my program window, and this is still my timeline. It brings up a scope. This is Lumetri scopes. This is the color correction thing. We'll talk a little bit about the scope, but I don't want you to worry too much about that at the moment. But over here on the right side, you should have a panel that looks like this. We're only going to deal with basic correction, and this may already be open, so it may look like that. But don't worry about all these things down here. We're not going to worry about them. We're just going to deal with basic corrections. So whenever you've got a shot that you want to correct, you want to kind of think about what needs to be done with it. So when I click on this, it is showing me that, and now all of these become active. And one of the things you want to notice is that we actually have color, and then we have light, which means really brightness and contrast. So we always want to do brightness first and color second, because adjustment to the brightness will affect the color, but color doesn't affect the brightness. So we want to do brightness first. So very, very simply, if we grab exposure, that means that we're going to actually make the entire image brighter. So some of you have footage that just kind of looks dark, and so this is an easy way for you to just make it look a little bit brighter. If you want to reset it, you can just double click on this little icon here and it will reset. Now when you look at this, you'll see it kind of looks dull. It doesn't have a lot of pop to it. So actually what that means is there's not a lot of contrast, and contrast is the difference between the light areas and the dark areas. And so our shadows are actually just not very dark. So we're actually going to start off by coming down here to the blacks and pulling down and making everything a little darker, and you can see immediately that everything starts to pop a little bit more. We can see more shadows. So now if we want to bring up the exposure just a little bit, we can, and we can bring up the contrast a little bit. So now very quickly you've made some significant differences between the two. If you want to turn your correction on and off, you can do that here, and that kind of shows you the difference between what you have created and what it looked like originally. So we could make a little more adjustments to the black, pull them down a little bit more and make more contrast. And there are more adjustments we could make. The shadows are the areas that are not quite all the way to the dark, so we could actually pull them down a little bit. And then we might adjust our exposure up just a little. So that's actually pretty good. Now we've increased the saturation of our colors and we've provided more contrast. Again, if I turn this on and off, you can see how much different it looks. So now if we go to color, the saturation is the intensity of the colors. So as I push this up, now you're going to see that the greens get greener, the woman's red shirt and her blue jeans get more intense, her hair kind of starts to pop. So now we have something that looks significantly different. So if I turn that on and off, you can see where we started and where we are now. So I'm going to kind of point this out on the scope and tell you what the scope is, but I'm not going to go a lot in depth on that. So first of all, I'm going to actually reset everything. So I'm going to reset to a beginning, and this is called a waveform. And what it is showing us is the brightness levels of the image. So the image on the waveform reflects the image in over here, left to right. So that means the area over here represents this part of the picture. The area over here represents this part of the picture. But the up and down does not represent the top and the bottom. This represents the brightness. So what you can see is we don't have anything very bright, because white would be up here around 100 and black would be down here around 0. So that's what we mean when we say there aren't anything that's really contrasty. There's no real bright areas or dark areas. So as I start to make adjustments with the blacks, you can see that the wave is going down. So that means that now I'm pulling some of the dark areas on the right side, these shadows, down to where it's dark, and the same thing over here. And so as I pull those down, I get to 0 and then I stop. Excuse me. When I grab exposure, now it is actually stretching this out. So I have much more contrast. So now I actually have bright areas which are reflected of this kind of reflection of the sky. So I've kind of brought those up, and then in contrast I'm going to bring these blacks back down. So now I have much more bright areas here and dark areas back in these shadows. And then when I add the saturation, now I have a much better image overall. So that's what the waveform is telling you. So let's go to one more shot, and that'll be it. So this is a shot of a bridge. It's kind of dark overall, and it doesn't have a lot of contrast. The waveform kind of shows the sky, which is darker over here and much brighter on this side of the image. Again, nothing is really very dark. It's not down here, it's 0. So when I'm adjusting this one, I am going to again start with the blacks and pull down and make the shadows darker. So the bridge became darker, the shadow under here became darker. But now I'm going to raise the exposure so that things look a little bit brighter and introduce some more contrast. And then add a little bit of saturation. So now the river and the sky are much more blue. So again, if I turn that on and off, you can kind of see the difference in clarity and contrast between the two. So that's a quick tutorial on color correction. You shouldn't try to do anything really drastic. Those basic controls should help you fix a lot of the things that maybe need to be corrected in your footage.